The Federal and City Union Bank jointly present the Tanjavur Marathon 2025 on Sunday, February 23. This event is powered by Sri Kamachi Medical Center and Anandam Silks and organized by Tanjavur District Athletics Association.
Hello and welcome to the Federal. You're going to be watching a special interview with Mr. Najeeb Jung, the former Lieutenant Governor of Delhi. Now, Mr. Jung has also been a career civil servant before he became the Lieutenant Governor and is one of the very well-known, public voices of India. The reason we are speaking with him is because of the Delhi Assembly results, which have actually ended up in a fairly large defeat of the Aam Aadmi Party and the former Chief Minister of Delhi, Arvind Kejriwal, after a gap of 10 years, two consecutive 5-year terms. Among the various things which have been commented in the media, the reasons for the defeat of the Aam Aadmi Party and personally for Mr. Kejriwal, who's lost his own seat from the New Delhi constituency, is his inability to work with the other powers that are part of the executive structure of Delhi, which is essentially the Lieutenant Governor's office, and an attitude which is quite overbearing or rather even bordering on bordering on arrogance, if I can actually use such a harsh word. So, first of all, Mr. Najeeb Jung, welcome to this program, and thank you very much for agreeing to do this interview with us and give us your really inside insights into Mr. Kejriwal's mind, his working, and also, most importantly, the executive structure of Delhi and as to how little power does the state government have. So welcome to this program, Mr. Jha.
Thank you, Nilanjan. Thank you very much for inviting me and to the Federal for this interview. Let me start from the beginning.
Yes.
I think that Mr. Kejriwal successfully sold a dream to the people of India and to the people of Delhi. He started with what he called an Andolan to free India of all corruption and free Delhi of all corruption. And if you remember those days, those were heady days when the public gave him overwhelming support. People came out in huge numbers, not only in the Jantar Mantar, but subsequently in the Ramlila grounds. And the image side by side with Anna Hazare was a Gandhian reborn in a modern form, or a Lakshman's common man taking over a very corrupt and a system that was hardly delivering. So the people expected something different, something new, something, if I may use the word, even revolutionary. And he came in, if you remember, the Wagoner, the clothes that he wore, the jalous that he took to when his swearing in took place, and the complete image that I am with you, I will take no security, I don't need security, the Janta is my security, I don't need a big house, and I will be with you, I will belong you. He tried to remind people
common man.
of Gandhi ji traveling in a third-class compartment. That is the image that was being built by
projected at that time.
Now, unfortunately, and the truth is that Mr. Kejriwal doesn't own up to any ideology. He is a very, very intelligent, clever political animal who thought that he could take on easily a moribund UPA government, which was on its last legs. And that was actually an invitation and a lollipop that the people accepted so gullibly. We in government watched that from day one. And within a week of his taking over, my office and I realized that we were dealing with someone who was completely different. Delhi had experience of working with many chief ministers, starting
Yes,
from the legendary Madan Lal Khurana, who did such wonderful work in Delhi, and then of course the 15 years of Mr. Dixit,
Sheila Dixit.
who came out as a very seasoned, senior, mature politician, and who knew how to work the system. She could work with the union ministers when they were not in the Congress, and she could of course work with the union ministers who were in the UPA. And my own experience of working with her, which was I think 10, 11 months, was wonderful to say the least. So I mean there are always issues which you need to discuss, and she was happy to discuss points on which I disagreed, and we could come to an amicable understanding. But within a week of his coming to power, Mr. Kejriwal had made it abundantly clear that he was a child of the revolution. He was a child of a unique movement which had come to change the system. And so from day one, he said that I have come here to change, and these rules and regulations make me cumbersome. They make the wheels of motion very slow, and therefore I am here just to change. And there was a tremendous aggression in his behavior, not just to my office, but also to all the civil servants, where there was gross misbehavior. And he was inviting trouble from day one. I mean, his law minister, who was then Mr. Bharti, went on and raided some women from Nigeria.
Went into their house and
they're trying to raid. I mean, completely illegal. He walked into a general merchant shop, saying, "I want to inspect." When they went into the Nigerian lady's place, and it was all nonsensical, they wanted me to transfer the police inspector. So all in all, it was a difficult time, because anything that happened, he would say that he is the new Badshah of Delhi, and the systems have to work to his call. So obviously it was a certain naivety, it was immaturity, although it's surprising, because Kejriwal came from a civil service background himself. But now, as we learn later, he hardly worked in civil service. He was perpetually on leave trying to work his NGO. Right. Therefore, the dream that you sell has to come to an end. And then gradually, of course, it took people 10 years to realize that the promises that he makes can be now be fulfilled by anybody.
The fact is that Arvind Kejriwal may have been defeated, but the policy template which he created, the so-called freebies, the so-called revdies, that has stayed. Mr. Modi, the Prime Minister, who very derogatory called it revdies, is now being forced to be, or rather his government would be forced to continue with the same schemes because it's a promise made by him.
Not only Mr. Modi, but every government.
All
this
political
is a trend
parties.
Now. This is now a trend that has been set, and every successive election, you will have more and more of such freebies going to people, because that is what, I mean, it's now an official bribe to the people, that I will give you so much, and if that fellow gives you so much, I'll give you more. And if that fellow can give you more, then I will give you even more. So we are confronted with a new monster that, rather delivering on the ground, rather delivering first-class education, first-class public health, first-class roads, we are giving things to people without providing the basic things that they need. So, and we should be talking of first-class health structure in Delhi. We should be talking of, cleaning the environment in Delhi. We should be talking of cleaning Jamuna in Delhi. And that is something which is not on the plate of the politician. But
the Aam Aadmi, I just interrupt here, but the Aam Aadmi Party would say that they did take initiatives in the area of education and health.
Yes, I think that they take good initiatives in the matter of education. The scheme of those mini clinics, that took off well, but it has not. Yeah, but that has not succeeded, in the sense that in the last year they were deprived of funds, the doctors were going away. So that Mohalla clinic concept was sort of failing because of lack of help from the administration. But it's a great scheme. It should have worked. It should have worked well had both the central government and Mr. Kejriwal worked in tandem. But Nilanjan, having said that, let's understand one thing, that the Kejriwal experiment has not failed. He still gets 42% or 42 point something percent
43% votes.
He is only 2% short of what the winners get. And had shall I say, the immaturity or lack of acceptability between the Congress and the Kejriwal not happened, he would still have been in power. So his hubris, his arrogance, and the arrogance of the Congress party actually, in a way, in the long term, strengthens the India alliance, because now the India alliance will understand that without this, we will fail. I mean, this should be a wake-up call for Mamata Banerjee. This should be a wake-up call for Mr. Akhilesh Yadav. This should be a wake-up call for Tejasvi Yadav and for Stalin and company, that only together is the good old days when Congress was on one side and the opposition was on one side. And you could survive only when the Janata Party got together. And the Janata Party, if you remember, was a unique conglomerate of the socialists and the RSS. So there is no reason why the India Alliance should not stick together, but it is a classic mistake in Delhi by both Mr. Kejriwal and by Mr. Gandhi, that they will suffer for the next 5 years, 10 years, I don't know when.
Let me try to understand more about Kejriwal. One of the basic problems was that he did not want to govern according to the norms. In his first tenure, he quit because he wanted to bring in a Jan Lokpal Bill without getting it cleared by the central government through the Lieutenant Governor's office. He, in fact, even did not send the bill to you after it was passed by the cabinet to the Lieutenant Governor's office. And then, it led to you writing a letter to the Speaker of the Delhi Assembly asking that the bill should not be debated upon, Can you just tell us, as to how he violated what is called, the GNCTD Delhi Act of 93. We'll come to the amendment which was made in 2023 by this present central government at a later point. But the law as it existed, under which the powers were given to the Chief Minister's office when he became the Chief Minister.
Those 49 days were a mockery of the system. When I called Mr. Kejriwal to make him understand that he has to follow the constitution, he said that you guys called me an anarchist.
But he himself called himself an anarchist.
Yes. That was his problem. So it was not just this. It was, there was an incident in Delhi where I set up a magisterial inquiry. Now the system is that the magisterial inquiry is done by an SDM, but the gentleman suddenly said, no, I will fix who will do the magisterial inquiry. So we called him and told him, you can't do this. This is not the law. But he was sort of incorrigible in those 49 days. So coming to your question, I mean, the excitement and the exuberance was so much. When we found out, we never even knew that he was going to do all this Lokpal Bill. And when we found out, I called him and I told him that this is unconstitutional. You should not do it. We are not averse to a Jan Lokpal. Please understand. There was a Lok Ayukt in Delhi, but if you want a Jan Lokpal, we will have it. What is the problem? But there is a system, and the system is that you will kindly send the cabinet cleared bill or the draft to us. And let's have a look at it and we'll send it back. We are not stopping you. But the man would not understand that. He would say, no, I am the Chief Minister of Delhi. The people of Delhi want the Jan Lokpal Bill, so I shall present it. All I had to do was follow the constitutional path, which is to advise the Honorable Speaker that what is being done is not strictly correct, and we want to rectify it. Of course, there was big drama in the assembly. Manish Sisodia suddenly got up, pulled out that paper from the speaker's pocket. There was misbehavior in the assembly. The assembly would have been dismissed. But Kejriwal saw that. Kejriwal saw the writing on the wall, and therefore chose to resign in those 49 days. Yes.
And when he came back, one of the major areas where there was a conflict with law, with the Lieutenant Governor's office, with the entire system, to put it that way, was on the matter of services. It went to court. Supreme Court eventually was dragged in. It gave a verdict. It went on. Can you explain, for the layman, that what exactly was the power of the Chief Minister's office and what was the reason for the divergence on the issue of services?
Okay, let me first get to the fundamentals of the desire to control services.
Right.
Why do you want to control services? If you're doing everything legally, if you're doing everything as per the constitution, then the civil servant will follow. But you want to control him only if you want to do things which are out of the realm of law and constitution. That's the fundamental. Now, the tradition in Delhi government was very, very simple, and it had worked since the time the Chief Commissioner and later the Lieutenant Governor came into existence. The system is that up to the level of Joint Secretary, the Chief Minister would make the postings in the Secretariat. No problems. Above the level, which is here, they say Secretaries to Government and the Chief Secretary and so on, the file and the proposal would come to the Lieutenant Governor, who would examine it, and normally 80%, 90% agree with what the Chief Minister said. After all, the Chief Minister knows his staff. He knows the people working under him, and he knows his needs. So it would be approved. That was the system. Mr. Kejriwal said, no, I do not agree to this. I will make all postings. I am not averse to this. But what happened made me sort of very cautious, because I think it was within maybe 2 or 3 weeks, he ended up locking out the secretary of the GAD, the General Administration Department, out of his room. The man couldn't enter the room. Then there is abusive behavior towards the Home Secretary. In public, he called the acting Chief Secretary dishonest.
Right.
This is not the way that civil servants, that chief ministers function. Before joining as Lieutenant Governor, I had 40 years of experience in government. I have dealt with chief ministers across parties. I have dealt with BJP chief ministers. I have dealt with Congress chief ministers. I have had outstanding relations with them as a civil servant, because none of them have ever raised their voice. Things are done in a cogent, cohesive manner. You put your case before a chief minister or your minister. He agrees or disagrees. I worked with Chaudhry Bansilal, for instance, in the central government. And he would tell me that, देखिए, आपको जो फाइल में लिखना है आप लिख लीजिए.
Okay.
मैं मंत्री हूं, अगर मुझे उसको नहीं फॉलो करना है, मैं अपना आदेश फाइल पे लिख दूंगा. That's a clear way of working. But if you want your secretary to write wrong notes, if you want your secretary to follow instructions that do not follow the line of law, the constitution, then civil servants will resist. So Kejriwal's angst against civil servants is that they would not follow his diktat, and often that diktat would not be reasonable. That is where, when we had to put the foot down and show him Article 239 of the Constitution and say, sorry, mate, this is not going to happen. The Constitution is that you do not control services. He went to the High Court. He raised several points, and it was the Chief Justice of the Delhi High Court, a lady Chief Justice, I forget her name, and a bench that sort of disallowed all his objections. So he lost in the High Court, lock, stock, and barrel. And that is when he went to the Supreme Court. And again, the Supreme Court has held the same thing. That look, as for the Constitution, you have to go to the Lieutenant Governor. However, the matter of services is still grey. And the reason they are grey, I just explained to you.
Right.
And therefore, Therefore, we'll have a larger bench examine this. And that's what they will do.
Right. Now, let us, since we are talking about what is called the Government of National Capital Territory of Delhi Act, which was in 1993. But in 2023, it was amended by this government. And many people have said that after that act, it was virtually like shackling up the Delhi Chief Minister's office, leaving no power and giving the veto power to all decisions which which the Chief Minister takes to the Lieutenant Governor. Now, I know you have not been the Lieutenant Governor when this law was passed, amended in Parliament in 2023. But the way you are engaged with Delhi, I'm sure that you would have taken a look at it. Can you just explain to us as to how this uh, changed the nature of relationship between the Chief Minister and how it made the Lieutenant Governor's office maybe more powerful than what it was in your time?
Niranjan, I don't think there was any need for this new amendment.
Okay.
The Article 239 is very, very clear, enunciating and clarifying the powers of the Lieutenant Governor. The union government only felt that they should further underline those powers because the way Mr. Kejriwal was behaving. That is all. Having said that, the other side of the argument, which even the BJP has said since the 90s, and the UPA, Mr. Sheila Dikshit has asked, and later Mr. Kejriwal, is there need to look at the system Delhi works today? Because if you have an assembly of 70 MLAs and a chief minister and a speaker, then should they be under the control or the administrative control of a centrally appointed lieutenant governor? There are two sides of this argument. The Balakrishnan report was submitted way back in, I think, 1989 or something, which clearly said that the lieutenant governor must continue. But, much water has passed in the Jamna since then. I think that better minds than yours and mine should now sit down and have a fresh look at the administrative model of Delhi and this marriage between the lieutenant governor and the chief minister. But the problem again is that this is the capital. You have had this nasty experience of a Kejriwal type chief minister. Can the central government afford a government in Delhi which is in a way, on its own track? Because you have embassies here, you have the prime minister's office here. This is the capital of India. You have the 26th January parade here. Now, on the 25th of January, Chief Minister of Delhi in 2013 or 14 chose to sit on dharna at Rail Bhavan.
That's right. That was the first public protest as Chief Minister.
Yeah, my famous Paratha diplomacy. Now, can you have a Chief Minister of Delhi sitting on Hartal on the mouth of the Rajpath, where a foreign guest has come? It is India's Republic Day, and you are sitting on Bhukh Hartal. So that is the issue which actually hangs. If it can happen once, it can happen another time. Dharna is now a fashion.
So would you say, you have also watched Delhi? I remember that even after the 1993 developments when Madanlal Khurana became the chief minister, demanding full statehood for Delhi used to be one of the major political demands which every party would make when they were in opposition. But once they came in government, nobody actually ever followed up on it. We have seen that the BJP also did not follow it up. But now, would you say that there is kind of a reasoned belief within the government that the full statehood cannot be given for the reasons which you listed, that you can have another experience, possibly more even bitter than what was there with Kejriwal in 2014 when he sat on that very famous dharna just outside Rail Bhavan?
Yes, I think that the union government and the community of constitutional experts were wearing down to the idea that perhaps a change is required. But the Kejriwal experiment has set that back by decades. I mean, it was a nightmare for the union government to be dealing with the chief minister. He went and sued the finance minister of India for
Right.
derogatory remarks, and then later apologized. He said Mr. Jaitley is dishonest. Mr. Jaitley took him to court. This man
Right.
apologized. Now, you can't have the chief minister of Delhi calling the finance minister of India corrupt. You can call him inefficient. But when the man is not dishonest and you make loose statements like that, then everybody gets very, very wary. And therefore, this entire discussion has been set back by a decade.
Right. That is very unfortunate that the entire debate and the need for giving more powers to an elected government in Delhi has been set back by a decade, as you are saying.
Yeah.
You know, your last words on Mr. Kejriwal, that he came. You said that he was a man on a mission, came with a lot of ideals backing him. But would you say that at the end of it, looking at it as a dispassionate observer from a distance, not just as a lieutenant governor who had to, work with him, would you say that he himself, led to the kind of electoral verdict which has come about?
I don't think he was a man who came with a mission, number one.
Okay.
I think he sold the idea of a mission to the people of Delhi. I think he's very successfully conned people into believing that there was a modern Gandhi amongst us. That dream that he sold, fortunately or unfortunately, continued till 2019. But we saw his true colors later after 2019, when actually the people who supported him were let down so horribly. If you remember the CAA agitation, where
Right.
women sitting out in the cold, he never uttered a word. These were his voters. The 2020 riots, Nilanjan, I work for, we are a group of retired IAS officers, the
That's right.
Constitutional Conduct Group.
I,
We worked for a week there in Northeast Delhi when the riots had taken place.
that's right.
There was not a beep from Mr. Kejriwal and company. Now, these people have voted for him again because they think they have no choice. Having said that, the man has let down all the people who voted for him and had hopes from him.
Right.
So, did he provide the youth with jobs? Did he make any extra effort to create the revolutionary fervor? Because he had the ability, he had the people with him. The
Yes.
revolutionary fervor in the students in Delhi to create a new Delhi. So all that failed when it came to grabbing power from central government, running Delhi as per his diktat. He was desperate to get the police under him. That मुझे पुलिस मिल जाए, पुलिस मिल जाए तो मुझे थाना मिल जाए, थाना मिल जाए तो मुझे मोहल्ला मिल जाए. These are very childish things for a mature politician. I can't imagine a Jawaharlal saying that मुझे थाना मिल जाए. I can't imagine a leader of the national movement saying मुझे ये मिल जाए. So these childish things, the immature things, actually led to his downfall, and he was
I think
completely exposed post to 2020.
I think you have actually explained, the entire, Arvind Kejriwal as the idea, as the man, and the reasons for his rise and also for his fall very well. Thank you very much, Mr. Najeeb Jung. We do not really know that whether the Indian people, the voters of Delhi, would vote back the Aam Aadmi Party at any point of time, and if this is the last that the people have seen of him as a political leader who's really, in shaking distance of being in power. But those are all things that will remain for the future. But thank you very much for explaining a very critical period and a very important man who, whatever happens to him in the future, is definitely going to be part of the history of this country, for the good or for the bad.
The Federal and City Union Bank jointly present the Tanjavur Marathon 2025 on Sunday, February 23. This event is powered by Sri Kamachi Medical Center and Anandam Silks and organized by Tanjavur District Athletics Association.